How a photographer and videographer, how a photographer and videographer, yeah. Hey guys, welcome back to Love and Learn. Thanks for being here. Today I have Jessica Bonestro of Jessica Bonestro Photography, and we're going to talk a little bit about working with a photographer and a videographer specifically on a wedding day. So Jess and I actually have done quite a bit of weddings together.
We have.
Trying to think, the first one, was that like 6 years ago?
I think so.
Crazy.
Probably like 5-6 years ago, yeah.
Yeah. And I remember being really nervous to work with her. Most of my weddings, how I started, was doing video, and Jess does photography. And so I remember being really nervous, but it went well. But I want to talk about like, how do you make a smooth day out of working with a photographer and a videographer?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is having a videographer who's like willing to communicate with the photographer. I have been in several situations where the videographer just like sticks to themselves, they don't interact with me, and really it just makes like twice the work because we have to do everything twice instead of working together to capture things at the same time. It ends up being I get my shots, they get theirs, and everything takes longer. Mm-hmm. So I think that's probably the biggest thing is like communication and being willing to work together and like compromise. Like if they need something and they want more of something, saying like, yeah, sure, that's fine, we can do that.
Yeah.
I think that's where we work well together.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, after doing so many weddings, we kind of like have the same, like, are we gonna have them walk next? Like, yes, like we know exactly what we're gonna do next. And it's really helpful because for me, getting lots of movement shots is really awesome and helps my video be a lot more interactive and like engaging. And those shots are great for photos too, but we just make sure like we're getting this enough, the good stuff for both of us. And sometimes it's even helpful, like, if I'm running stuck on something or like you're running, like what should we do next? And then like we can like bounce ideas off of each other, or is this a good lighting scenario for the first look or for portraits or something like that. So it's nice to have another brain to like bounce ideas off.
It is. I actually would say I prefer working with a videographer when it's Lauren. But when you have a really good relationship with a videographer, it's really nice to work with them because it's sort of that like a person to bounce ideas off of, just that second opinion. And it's like nice to just have somebody to hang out with all day because it's a busy day, but most of the time you're with the bride and groom and they're also busy. So it can be kind of a lonely day if you don't have someone you enjoy working with. Alongside you. So that's one perk for sure of working with a videographer that you love. And I think the more you work together and the more we have experience with each other, we've definitely, like you said, like found that rhythm that at this point we don't even need to talk. We just look at each other and we know. So
when are a couple times during the day where it's really important that a photographer and videographer can work together well?
I think the biggest moment of the day to me is them coming down the aisle. If there's not communication, I've had videographers ruin my shots, step in front of me, cut me off. So we usually have a really good game plan of, you know, where are you gonna be, where am I gonna be, making sure we're not in each other's way. Not just during the ceremony, but the whole day. But the ceremony is obviously the hardest to recreate. It's not like if you step in front of someone, they can't redo that. So I think that's just such an important aspect of the day to really communicate where you're going to be, what your plan is, that kind of thing. So
our plan during ceremony, we always sit across the aisle in the same aisle together, or chairs or whatever it is. So then we're not in each other's way at all. So I think that's really helpful. Like, or even if Jess, like there's been sometimes I think you've like stood at the front of church or whatever, but like she's really good at like stepping away or like coming to the side so I can make sure like I get a good shot. And just like being aware of each other. I think the biggest thing that helps me, because obviously I think the most important part of your day of a video and a photo option is like the photos, because those are like the things you put on your wall and you like have forever and you have prints of, like, I do think that that is the most important part. So for me, I always try to match the lens that the photographer is using. And so I know that I'm with Jess, I'm always using a 50 because that's
my favorite.
That's the shot, the lens that she loves to use. And then I end up falling in love with it. And then sometimes I'm with another photographer and they have a 35 that they use all the time. And so then I'll put my 35 on and then I like enjoy that too, can kind of get closer to your couple. But or even like I know when she's gonna like, oh, big wedding party, let's change to our 35.
Right,
so
yeah.
just like I think matching that, so then I know what I'm seeing is what she's seeing, and I know if I'm like too far in front of her, I'm gonna be in her shot. So just being aware of that too.
I think I also noticed that when we work together, we really have found that rhythm and sync also during the dance. During those first dances, it can be really tricky if I'm shooting and the videographer is shooting opposite side as me. They're constantly in my shot. So we usually kind of work together. We shoot on this side and then we look at each other. Okay, yep, you ready? Let's go to the other side. So that kind of communication too is really, really helpful. Just making sure you're being aware of where you are in proximity to the other professional. That way you're being courteous in that aspect too. So,
and like the ultimate thing is like we're both there to serve this couple on their wedding day. So there's no reason to fight or like fight for shots. Like just share the like, especially the thing that comes to mind is like over the veil or like the veil under or over the couple, you know, like there's only one shot you can really get with that. And we share, and Jess will go and then I'll go, or I'll go first and then Jess will go, and we like hold the veil for each other. So just like it's not about us, it's about the couple and what we're getting for them. So just make sure you're finding vendors and photographers and videographers that are like willing to work together, because I think you've had a few times where you said like it hasn't worked well to work with the other person, or like it just makes the day not run as smoothly. And that's the whole point, is just to help your day go as smoothly as possible.
I think that the other thing I would recommend to brides is choosing a videographer and photographer that have a similar style. If you're working with a photographer who's really moody and your videographer is very like clean edits, true to color, it can be really hard because they're gonna shoot entirely different lighting scenarios and that kind of thing too. So that does make kind of twice the work as well. So the more you can keep kind of similar styles in choosing your professionals, that will also help. And making sure you're choosing someone that is a style you're drawn to, not just like what's in and trendy. So.
Can make a whole video about that.
In
general. But anyway, that's all I think. Thanks for watching today. Hopefully this helps you like figure out how a photographer and videographer should work together, and even if you are one of those, how you can work with the other person, or if you're looking to hire one or both. Hopefully have some tips. Okay.
Yay.
Bye.
Bye.